Let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down at your computer, opened LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, or one of the other job boards and spent hours applying for jobs? Maybe you used Easy Apply. Maybe you applied for 10 jobs, maybe 20, maybe 50. Maybe you've even lost count. And after all that effort, what happened? No interview, no phone call, no email, nothing. If that's happened to you, I want you to know you're not alone. In fact, one of the most common frustrations I hear from job seekers today is, Laurie, I'm applying everywhere, but nobody is calling me back. Now, when that happens, most people immediately start questioning themselves. Maybe my resume isn't good enough. Maybe I don't have the right experience. Maybe I need another certification. Maybe someone else was more qualified. But what if that's not the real problem? What if the hiring process itself has changed? Because after reviewing recruiting trends, labor market trends, AI developments, and hiring practices, I think many job seekers are asking the wrong question. The question isn't, why won't anyone hire me? The better question is, has the way companies hire changed? And I think the answer is yes. Let me show you what I mean. Easy Apply solved one problem and created another. First, let's be fair. Easy Apply exists for a reason. Years ago, applying for jobs could feel like a full-time job by itself. You'd create account after account, upload your resume over and over again, fill out the same information repeatedly, answer endless application questions. It was frustrating. Then platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, and ZipRecruiter made things easier. And honestly, that's a good thing. But here's what's interesting. The easier it became to apply, the easier it became for everyone else to apply too. Think about that for a moment. The same button that's helping you submit an application in seconds is helping thousands of other people do exactly the same thing. Easy Apply solved the application problem. It did not solve the visibility problem. And today, visibility may be the bigger challenge. AI has changed the rules. Now let's add another layer to this. Artificial intelligence. A few years ago, creating a strong resume took time. Writing a cover letter took time. Tailoring your application took time. Today, AI can help job seekers do all of that faster. And before anybody misunderstands me, I'm not saying that's bad. I use technology. You probably use technology. Most job seekers do. The issue isn't that AI exists. The issue is that everyone has access to it. Think about it this way. If one person has a powerful tool, that's an advantage. If everyone has the same powerful tool, the advantage disappears. Now, thousands of candidates can create polished resumes, customize cover letters, and submit applications faster than ever before. So while technology made applying easier, it also dramatically increased competition. And that's one of the biggest shifts happening in today's job market. The hidden math behind Easy Apply. Let's look at this from the employer's side for a minute. Imagine you're a recruiter. Your company posts a position. Within a few days, hundreds of applications arrive, maybe more. Now here's my question. How many resumes do you think one recruiter can realistically review? Not hundreds, not thousands. They're dealing with meetings, hiring managers, deadlines, and multiple open positions. The challenge isn't finding applicants anymore. The challenge is sorting through applicants. That's a completely different problem than companies faced years ago. The hiring bottleneck has moved, and many job seekers don't realize it. They're still operating as if the biggest challenge is getting an application submitted. For recruiters, the biggest challenge is managing volume. What happens after you click apply? This brings us to something many job seekers never think about. What happens after you click that button? Most people assume a recruiter immediately reviews their application. But that's often not what happens. Many organizations use applicant tracking systems and other screening tools to help organize applications. Why? Because they have to. When application volume becomes overwhelming, companies need systems to help manage the process. Now here's the important part. When people hear ATS, they sometimes assume the system is out to get them. That's not really the issue. The issue is volume. The system exists because recruiters are trying to find the best candidates in a very large pile of applications, which means many hiring decisions begin long before a recruiter ever speaks with a candidate. And that's why a qualified person can sometimes feel completely invisible. The mistake many job seekers make, let me ask you another question. If applying to more jobs automatically produced more interviews, wouldn't people applying to hundreds of jobs be flooded with interview requests? But that's not what we're seeing. In fact, many people are applying to more jobs than ever and getting fewer responses than ever. Why? Because activity and progress are not always the same thing. Applying feels productive, and sometimes it is. But if all your time goes into submitting applications, what aren't you doing? You're probably not researching companies. You're probably not building relationships. You're probably not following hiring trends. You're probably not learning where opportunities are developing before everyone else notices them. And that's where I think many job seekers get stuck. A coaching observation. One of the things I've noticed as a career coach is that many job seekers come into a conversation feeling defeated. They'll tell me, Lori, I've applied for 100 jobs. Or sometimes I've applied for 200 jobs, and they're exhausted. They're frustrated. And often they believe the problem must be them. But when we start talking through their process, I usually discover something interesting. Many of them have spent almost all of their time applying and very little time investigating. They know the job title, they know the salary range, but they don't know much about the company. They haven't looked at the organization's recent growth. They haven't researched what's happening in the industry. They haven't connected with people working there. And honestly, that's understandable because most job search advice tells people to focus on quantity, apply more, apply faster, apply everywhere. But what I've found is that sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come from submitting another application. Sometimes it comes from slowing down long enough to understand where the opportunity actually is. That's when the conversation starts to change. That's when people begin moving from job hunting to opportunity hunting. What successful candidates do differently. Now let's talk about the people who are getting interviews, because they are out there. What are they doing differently? Many of them have stopped treating job searching like an application game. Instead, they treat it like an investigation. They identify organizations they're interested in. They follow those companies. They watch for growth announcements. They pay attention to new initiatives. They connect with people already working there. They learn about the organization's challenges. Then they apply. Notice the difference? For many job seekers, the application is the first step. For successful candidates, the application is often the last step. By the time they apply, they already understand the company, the opportunity, and the value they can bring. That's a very different approach. The biggest advantage in today's job market isn't necessarily a better resume. It's better information. The candidates getting interviews aren't always submitting more applications. They're often identifying opportunities before they become crowded. So, is Easy Apply completely useless? No, not at all. LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, and other platforms are still valuable tools. The problem isn't the platform. The problem is relying on Easy Apply as your entire strategy. The job market has changed, competition has changed, technology has changed, hiring has changed, and the candidates who understand those changes have an advantage. The biggest lesson I hope you take away from today's conversation is this: the future belongs to candidates who understand where opportunities are being created, not just where jobs are being posted. So don't stop applying. Just don't stop investigating. Because the strongest candidates today aren't necessarily submitting more applications. They're gathering better information. And that's why my message remains the same. Don't just apply, investigate. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe for more Genesis 2050 Workforce Intelligence and Career Strategy Insights. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.